Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry for the lack of uploads on this channel. I've been a little busy slash mainly lazy. I've been had to take care of some of school stuff, so now I'm free. Anyways, let's get on with this. I haven't made a $500 PC build guide in about over a year, so I guess it's time to update it. Anyways, let's get on with the build. So for the processor, I went with the Intel Core i3-6100 3.7 GHz dual core processor for only $119. This Skylake dual core is clocked at 3.7 GHz, and as many of you may know, it does have hyper-threading, so it is added 2 extra virtual cores, so technically making it a quad core. Its max supported memory is 64 GB. It does have Intel HD Graphics 530 if you guys don't want to use a GPU, but I wouldn't recommending that. And it does have a CPU cooler as well, so you guys don't have to buy like a Hyper 212 Evo or a Cryo H9i. Yes, it is a dual core, but it is way better than like a AMD FX 6300 which is under $100. Why? Because its performance per core is just outstanding, and it's just really good for games. Yes, it's not going to be the greatest for video editing, rendering, Photoshop, but mainly for a gaming PC, an i3 is just unbeatable for the price, especially for $119. If you're building a $500 PC, it's very hard to fit in an i5 or even an i7 actually. And if we tried to fit in an i5 in this build, then we have to cut back on the price of our graphics card. And at the end of the day, the graphics card is just way more important than the CPU. For the motherboard, I went with the ASRock H110 HDS Micro ATX LJ1151 motherboard for only $47. This micro ATX form factor supports the LJ1151 socket. It uses the Intel H110 chipset. It sadly does only have 2 RAM slots. The memory type supported is DDR4 2133. Its max supported memory is 32 GB. It has sadly no RAID support, SLI support, or Crossfire support, but at this price point of a budget, we definitely can't afford that. It does have 4 SATA 6GB ports and of course onboard USB 3 headers. This is basically just an entry-level motherboard for Skylake CPUs, and it's just really good for the price. It's gonna get the job done. It doesn't have anything fancy, but it just gets the job done for this price, and I highly recommend it only for $50. Alright, for the RAM, I went with the Corsair 8GB DDR4 2133 memory for only $44.38. This one stick of 8GB of RAM has a speed of 2133 MHz, and has a cache latency of 15. I went with only one stick of 8GB of RAM because if I went with 2, we can't upgrade to 16 in the future because the motherboard only supports 2 RAM slots. So if you guys do decide to go up to 16GB in the future, which I highly recommend, I would decide getting only one stick of RAM for now, and then if you guys do want to upgrade in the future, I would get another stick of the same RAM kit. Alright, for storage, I went with the Western Digital Caviar Blue 1TB 7200 RPM internal hard drive for only $50. So we can't fit an SSD in this build, of course, but if you guys have the extra money, I would highly recommend trying to get an SSD, you know, a 60GB or 120, so you can fit your OS on there, or your most used applications, and maybe a few games. But if you guys don't, I would highly recommend picking up this hard drive. It's a fairly fast hard drive. I heard its boot times are around 20 seconds for Windows OS, and it's just really solid, and I would highly recommend picking it up. Onto the graphics card, I went with the Sapphire Radeon RX 470 4GB video card for only $175. Now this 1080p monster graphics card from Sapphire uses the Radeon RX 470 chipset. It has a memory size of 4GB, uses the memory type of GDDR5. Its core clock is 932 MHz. Its boost clock is 1.22 GHz. It has 3 display ports and 1 HDMI, sadly no DVD-I port, but you guys can just buy an adapter online. If you guys don't know, this is a great 1080p card for under $200, and you guys are gonna have no problem playing games at high settings with really good frame rates, probably around the 50 to 60 range of FPS, and its performance is about the same as a GTX 970, which was a $340 card when it first came out. You guys can even take a look at the benchmarks from Tom's Hardware, and you can see this card has really no problem at all playing games at high settings, probably not with anti-aliasing on, of course, and some other post-processing stuff, but it has no problem playing games at really high settings with good appropriate frame rates of around 50 to 60 FPS. So I would highly recommend picking up this card. Now for the case, I went with the Rosewill Galaxy O3 ATX mid-tower case for only $30. This sleek ATX mid-tower has 3 fans pre-installed. It actually has one blue fan installed in the front, which actually looks pretty cool. The top mounted I/O features one USB 3.0 port, 2 USB 3.1 ports, and audio mic in and out jacks. It has 3 external 5.25 inch drive bays. It has 4 internal 3.5 inch drive bays and 1 internal 2.5 inch drive bays for your SSD. And it has 7 expansion slots. Anyways, this is a pretty dope case for this price point, and I highly recommend picking it up for this budget build. Alright, last but not least, for the power supply, I went with the Rosewill Stallion series 450 watt ATX power supply for only $30. This ATX power supply has a wattage of 450 watts, so it should be enough to power your build, and I would highly recommend picking this up as it only costs $30, so it's really good for your build. Now you guys are probably wondering, how much does this build cost, bro? Well, it's only $497 without tax, of course, and the OS. Now I'm pretty sure you guys are trying to find a Windows OS, and I'm pretty sure you guys aren't going to use Linux or a pirated version of Windows OS, so I'd highly recommend going on g2a.com or kingwing.net because they have really nice prices for Windows OS keys, and I'm pretty sure kingwing.net has their Windows 10 keys and Windows 7 keys for under $30, which is a really great price. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys already haven't, please subscribe down below, click the like button down below as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!